So we're finished with that session. We have one more left to go today. And I've got to tell you that this last session was really detailed with respect to what we've seen in the town of Western in the process of transferring funds or appropriations between accounts for different funds in the town for various reasons. And so realizing that there is a lot of policy that prevents transfer between various funds simply because law limits that. It's neat to kind of now be able to follow each of the transfers that the town is making in its processes that it goes through every month at these town board meetings. So one of the really interesting things that we got today, and I'm just tickled over this, is that really when we see the board between 6:30 and 7 every board meeting, going through the process of signing off on documents or bills that need to be paid, that is actually an auditing process. That entire process of each one of them getting an invoice or a bill or a claim, as it were, and then reading it and verifying that it's viable and then signing their name to it is the process of the town auditing claims for payment. So that's the internal auditing on a claim-to-claim basis in the town. And I didn't realize that before as what they were doing other than, when I was in business, I would be responsible for signing off on documents for bills that were being paid to vendors. That's an internal auditing process for business, and it's the same thing for a town. But with respect to that auditing process, they're responsible, just as I was responsible in business for that. So that was kind of neat to see that as well. The other thing they talked about is there are a lot of differences in accounting between towns with villages, incorporated villages, and towns without villages. So we do know that the town of Western has a village, or did have a village called Westernville. And I don't know if that was ever incorporated at any given time, or whether it was incorporated and then removed from that incorporated format. Interesting questions to find out about the town of Western. Moving to hamlets from villages, if they were incorporated villages, that would minimize paperwork, minimize the number of accounts or funds that a town would have to manage an incorporated village. So it'll be neat to find out whether it was at any point in time an incorporated village and when that was changed and why. Although the accounting side of things is much easier with an unincorporated village. And now going to hamlets removes that entire concept of a village with respect to accounting, because hamlets have no standing whatsoever. It's just a name. There's nothing legal about a hamlet. The other thing is, we covered yesterday and today a little bit on permissive referendum, and that was a consistent thing that's brought up, or has been brought up, with respect to many of the financial aspects of town boards and making changes to some financial project or some specific fund. If things get changed, many things will require what's called a permissive referendum, which means they have to post that for the public to see. It doesn't necessarily require a public hearing, but it does require that they post that somewhere for the people to see. And if there is a petition against that, then that would go to a full-fledged referendum or a vote by the people in a special election or in the upcoming election, like we will be having in November. So that permissive referendum versus the full-fledged, I don't have the terminology for required, it might be required referendum, is the way that the people have access to manage the expenses in the town. So let's say the town wants to purchase a building or sell something. I think many times those things may go up to permissive referendum. And if there's enough feedback from the public, and I don't know what the counts are, I do know they mentioned a petition. So if someone gets a petition together, the public, and it has 35 signatures on it, maybe that's a legal petition to float to the town, requiring them a full referendum on any given issue that requires a permissive referendum. So it'll be interesting to get a list of those items that did go before the public in permissive referendum that we can kind of detail for ourselves to kind of understand how that process works moving ahead. So we're getting ready for the final session here. Common pitfalls in budgeting. And Leslie Richard presented yesterday from the comptroller's office, so she's going to be covering this today. I haven't met Ingrid Otto, who's going to be another presenter today for the common pitfalls in budgeting, but it's going to be, again, another positive way to compare what the town of Western might be doing with what some of these really bright folks here in Albany are seeing out there in the field and are bringing to us so that we can see that and of course bring it to you. So we're the town of Western Civic Affairs. We're in Albany at the 2024 Finance Basic Symposium put on by Association of Towns, Financial Planning for Accounts. So we'll talk to you later.